Let me turn on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys. So today we're going to be having our first class, but it's not actually a class. It's basically going to be like a session. We're going to meet each other. We're going to introduce you guys to the course, the details of the course of this program, of the TOEFL test. So we'll talk a little bit about the things that you have to know before starting tomorrow with our real or actual classes. Okay. So let me just share today's meeting in our YouTube channel. And by the way, I want to start by saying that if you see what I'm doing right now, I'm sharing our meeting in a YouTube channel. And this is going to be our YouTube channel for our group. So every single class will be either shared there, uploaded, but it will be in this YouTube channel. Okay, so whenever if you ever miss a class, if you ever want to just maybe catch up or review what we did one certain class, you have access to all of the recordings from all of the classes here. Okay. So whenever you want to see the recordings of the class, you can go to the link in the description of the group and you will find them there. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm gonna record a class and upload it because I think that the channel is not yet available for sharing. But let's start. Okay, guys, so first thing I want to start by welcome you all to this TOEFL preparation course, to this TOEFL preparation program. And I guess it's a good way to start by saying or letting you know that it's one of the biggest programs we have here at Executive English. So welcome to Executive English, welcome to the TOEFL course, and thank you. Thank you for joining the course, the program. We will see. Now, the first thing that I gotta say, it's kind of a thing, um, is that, well, here at Executive, we have this policy that comes from administration. It isn't something that we as teachers do, but it's something that we are required to do. So we are constantly being reminded that we have to ask students to have their cameras on during class. And it's something that is really important for both of us. You know, it's important for you guys so that you are more likely to be there, to be present, to pay attention, and to actually learn when you have your cameras on. It's like a way to force yourself to be there, you know, because I know that I've also had many courses, many online courses, and usually when they don't really like require you to have your cameras on, then you know you get distracted. You have your phones there, you maybe start doing something else because you think that you can do both things at the same time, which I'm not saying that you can't, but it's better when you're 100% there, you know? So it's a really good thing that you guys try to have your cameras on during class and you try to engage and participate and be active, you know? We're gonna try to make it this class as dynamic as it can be. Right. Now, moving on. This is actually not great. Moving on. Okay, moving on. As for the details of the course, so as I was telling you, today is not actually an actual class. We're just having an introductory session. But our real classes go Tuesdays through Fridays, right? Tuesdays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Bolivia time. Are you guys under the same time zone? Do you all live in Bolivia?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that's great. So in that case, then it's gonna be 8 p.m. for everyone here. And Tuesdays to Fridays, right? Remember, there are not scheduled classes on Mondays, except today's. Now, does anyone know how many weeks this course will last?
6 weeks.
Exactly, you guys are informed. 6 weeks. And since we're gonna be having 4 classes a week, 4 hours a week, that means that in total we'll be having 24 classes, and I'm not counting today's, 1 hour classes, right? So out of these 24 classes, half of them are gonna be theory classes. That means that during our theory classes, we'll be looking at the theory behind the TOEFL test. So we'll be seeing things like the types of questions, strategies to answer, sample responses, tips and advice, and all those things that you actually have to know in terms of the format and in terms of how to actually answer questions from the TOEFL test. So we'll look at all the theory. You know, it's gonna be more like a theoretical class. We're not gonna practice that much. I'm gonna try to make it as dynamic as it can be, but we'll be looking at those things. Now, during our theory classes are gonna be held Tuesdays and Thursdays, all right? So tomorrow and on Thursday, we'll be looking at the theory, and our practice classes or our practice sessions will be Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, so that way we do one theory, one practice. So everything we do on our theory classes will be putting it into practice on Wednesdays and Fridays. Okay, and you guys will be practicing. So that way we can make it more balanced. Because I think that I gotta start by saying this. Preparing for the TOEFL test, I would say, in my experience, that it requires, I'd say, 20% of theory. So understanding the format and understanding the questions and how to answer them. And I'd say 80% practice. Because it'll be useless if you know everything about the TOEFL, but you cannot actually use it when you are answering the questions, right? So we don't have enough time to do the 80% of practice that this requires, which is why I'm also going to be sending you guys some material and you need to practice on your own too, outside of the classroom. Okay, so I wouldn't say that practice is just for Wednesdays and Fridays. If you can do it every day after our theory class, I would suggest that after we're done with the 1 hour class, you practice. Okay, so even on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will recommend that you guys try to practice too, because practice is almost everything here. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. I don't know if you guys have any questions so far.
Not yet.
Okay, great. Now, this is a little bit about me and who am I. So basically, well, my name is Andrea de la Torre. You can call me Andrea, that's fine. And I am an ESL teacher, which means that I teach English as a second language. I've been certified by TEFL Universal. And well, I have some experience teaching. I have actually 3 years of experience teaching math. I'm sorry, teaching math and English, yeah, because I'm also a math teacher. So I've been teaching math and English, and I've been focusing and orienting my my teacher experience towards the TOEFL test for quite a while now. So I started working at Executive English actually in 2020 during the pandemic. Um, and then I've been working here at Executive since that time. So, I've been here with the company through seeing how the TOEFL program has been growing. And I think that I myself I have been growing as a teacher too with the program. And of course, I took the TOEFL test myself. So as you can see on the right, those are my scores that I got in the TOEFL test. I got 114 out of 120, which is the maximum score. And it would correspond technically to a C2 proficiency level, and this is like specifically speaking in an academic context, right? Because what the TOEFL test does is measure your proficiency within an academic context. So I think that's important to clarify as well. And you have my sub scores as well. So these are the scores that I got in the reading, listening, speaking, and writing sections. In case you're wondering, in case you want to know specifically how much I got in each section. And I think that's a good summary of of what I've been doing and my experience as a TOEFL instructor. Is that okay? I don't know if you guys have any questions, anything you'd like to know.
Teacher, I looked that you got a perfect score on listening. Can you maybe give us some suggestions about that? How you got it?
Okay. So, I mean, first of all, honestly speaking, I'd say that the listening, personally, at least for me, was the easiest section because, and I think it's usually the easiest section for many students. I wouldn't say most, but for many students, because we are constantly surrounded, especially if you want to, we're constantly surrounded by the English language, right? So you probably yourselves, maybe even like on social media, you read things in English, maybe you even watch TikToks in English or you watch movies, you listen to podcasts. So I think that definitely helps improving your listening skills in general. Now, the TOEFL test, as I was telling you before, um, is related to English within an academic context, right? So in order to get the best scores, I'd say in the listening and also in the speaking, the key is to practice, to listen to as many material as you can, trying to do it, orienting it towards the academic part, right? So you could listen to podcasts, TED Talks, you can watch these National Geographic videos or uh, I don't know, academic podcasts about scientific topics and stuff. And all of that will help you both in the listening and in the speaking too, because they go together. Listening and speaking, I'd say they go together. And reading and writing, they go together too. So if you're good at listening, you're probably going to be good at speaking too. And if you're good at reading, then you'll be good at writing. So in order to improve listening, practice listening, surround yourself to as many material in English as you can. And I'm not getting into the details of like specific tips for the listening section because we will get there when we are looking at the listening section in class, but in listening in general, then just practice, listen to as many things as you can. Any other question?
No.
Okay, guys. Another thing that I was like speaking about listening, you know what? as I was telling you, listening is specifically for the TOEFL test related to academic context. So besides all of what I mentioned, you could try listening to university classes, right? So university lectures, actually, university classes or lectures. Obviously, short lectures. I'm not asking you to listen to like 1 hour lectures, but try to listen to some of them because you will see as we go that you will have to listen to a lot of lectures in the TOEFL test. So it's a good idea to, from now on, if you really want to focus on listening, start listening uh, to many academic classes or university classes or lectures, and that helps too. Okay. All right, guys. Now moving on a little bit into what the TOEFL test is. So of course, this is a TOEFL program. We gotta know what the TOEFL is. What do you guys know about the TOEFL test? Anything you know? Anything you know at all about this test? Victor, what can you tell me?
Well, actually, I already took the test on 2020.
Okay. And how was it? How was the experience?
Well, it was different because I supposed to take the test on how can I say presential in I don't know ISB school, but just there in March on 2020 started the pandemic, so I took the first TOEFL at home.
Yeah, the home edition.
Exactly, and so I practice by myself, and I was very good because I took from my home, from my bed, from my bedroom. So yeah, and also well, I remember that my score was enough to go to my for the university requirements. So it was helpful, but now I need more. So
Okay.
that's why I need to practice.
Okay, so you need a higher score this time.
Yes.
And you want to take it, you want to go to a test center to take the test. Why? Why do you want to go to a test center? And why don't you want to take it at home again? Because I think the home edition is still available, right?
Yes, I read that home edition will be for uh, besides the pandemic, so now you can take whatever you want. So yeah, we will take again at home edition.
Okay, so you will take it at home again.
Yes.
All right, so you like the experience of taking it at home.
Yes, because you are more comfortable in your own space.
That's true. And also another thing, another advantage of taking it at home would be you don't have that many instructions, right? Personally, I took it in a test center. I took it in the CBA, and there were a lot of people there. Like, not a lot, like, but there were many. There were like around, let's say, 7 or 8 more people in the same room, and it's not a big space. It's a tiny room, and everyone's seated next to each other. They do give you headphones and everything, but even then, you still have you can still hear the other person giving the responses, and that can be distracting. So yeah, I'd say that's the advantage of taking it at home. It is definitely more comfortable, and you don't get distracted that much, right? You don't have many distractions. Okay. What about you, Sebastian? What do you know about the TOEFL test?
Well, teacher, this is my first English class after 3 years, I think. Yes, because I graduated from the CBA like 3 years ago. Yes, and after this time, well, in these 3 years, I was looking for the TOEFL, right? Well, I recently I got news about this, the TOEFL. And last year I was looking for a university in a foreign country. So I looked that some requirements for those universities are is a TOEFL test. So is that the reason that I got interested?
Okay, good. So you're applying to a university in a foreign country, and one of the requirements is a TOEFL test. That's correct.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Okay, so you will tell me a little bit more about that in a little bit. I want to know some things like what you're doing right now. So what program you're applying for, what country are you planning on going, if there's like a minimum score, a maximum score right, like a minimum score, right? Our score requirement that they're asking. So we will get to the details in a little bit. So far, since you guys are all very familiarized with the TOEFL test, we don't have to spend too much time here. But well, just to have some context, TOEFL stands for Test of English as a Foreign Language, which means that it's an English exam that people who learn English as a second language take. Right? This is not taken by native speakers. Why do they take this? To demonstrate their English proficiency or their English level, right? Especially as you guys were saying, for academic instances. So when you're applying to universities abroad, or even universities within your same country, where maybe the language of instruction is English, maybe they have a strong English program that requires you to have the TOEFL test. Like, for example, I think that in UPB, they ask their students to have the TOEFL test. So that's it. That's the TOEFL test. Is it the only English exam? Do you guys think that it's the only one? Do you know of any other English tests like the TOEFL test?
Yes, Duolingo.
Duolingo test. Good. Any other?
Michigan.
Michigan exam. Yes. Okay. So these are actually ones that are coming out strong, but I would say they're like it's like a trilogy. There's like the three main tests, English exams, I would say out there. The TOEFL exam is one of them, the IELTS is the other, and the Cambridge exam. Those are the ones that I think those are the traditional ones, right? Maybe that's why I'm mentioning them, but because they have been around for the longest time. Now, recently, they are launching more and more in English exams, such as the Duolingo test, Michigan test, and I think there are more too, right? There are more. But the Pearson exam too, but those are relatively new. The TOEFL, the Cambridge, and the IELTS, I'd say they are the most known. And when they are the most known, they are also the most accepted ones. So that I think is important to consider when deciding which type to test. Because probably in your universities, they are not only specifically asking you for the TOEFL exam, right? Maybe you have options. Maybe you can present the Duolingo test. Maybe you can submit the IELTS or the Cambridge. But speaking about Bolivia, I think the TOEFL and the Cambridge are the only two available exams. And here in Cochabamba, the TOEFL is the only option. But honestly, it's a great option. I think it's one of the most valid tests. It is valid everywhere you go in all continents. Like if you go to North America, here in South America, Asia, Europe, um, Australia, and so forth, it's valid everywhere you go. And I think it'll keep where it is. Now, IBT is the internet-based test, which is the version of the test that you guys will be taking. The most common one, the one that you take using a computer. There are other versions of the test as well. It's important to know that it isn't the only one, but the IBT is the most academic, the most known, and the only one that is available here in Bolivia, right? But it is the important one, the one that universities uh, required. So is that okay? Do you guys have any questions about this so far? Now, another things that are important to mention, and this is just so that you have some context, the company that makes, administers, and reviews your test is the ETS, the Standardized Testing Service. This is a huge company that's also the one that creates other standardized exams, such as the GRE, the SAT. So it's a big company. Whenever I tell you in class, this is official from the ETS, that means that it's official, that it's material coming from the official company, right? That makes the TOEFL exam. So the ETS is the official company in charge of making the test. Now, one thing that is important to mention, and this is what Victor was saying, you have two options. When you go and register to the official website, the official ETS website, they will ask you where you want to take this test. You can either take it at home or you can go to a test center. Now, I won't tell you which one is better because it depends. We were already discussing a little bit the advantages of taking it at home, right? It's more comfortable, fewer distractions, and you don't actually have to go to a test center. You have more dates available too. You can take it in the morning or afternoon. You have some advantages, but it also has some cons. So one of them, for example, is that I have seen many students having problems with the home edition. Because if something were to happen with your computer, with your microphone, with your internet connection, with your camera, if you do something suspicious, whatever happens, they can always cancel your scores very easily. And there have been many, many canceled scores with students who are taking it at home. So that is the risk. That is the risk when taking it at home. Something goes wrong, your scores get canceled. And especially if you need the test soon, then I wouldn't recommend taking it at home because you have more chances of something going wrong and your scores getting canceled, and maybe the deadline is gonna go past, so you won't have time to apply. But if you have time and you can maybe take it again, you can take it at home. Okay, so those are maybe the things that you guys need to consider when deciding. Is that okay so far? Do you guys have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, guys, great. Now, the reasons why people take this test, we were already talking about some. Usually it is to apply to academic programs in any academic institution, like exchange programs for doing master's or bachelor's degrees, a 2-year degree, a PhD, anything, right, that you're doing in a university abroad. And sometimes people take it for work reasons. It definitely helps later when you're trying to get a job, especially if the job requirements include speaking English fluently. And, I think there has been many studies about how speaking a second language, being bilingual, increases your chances in getting better jobs, get better job positions, being promoted, and also being paid more, right? So that definitely is true. So when you want to show that in your resume, how do you do it? You show a certificate, right? You show some sort of proof of your English proficiency. And the TOEFL is one way to do that. So it is helpful too in the professional world. Is that okay? Any other question?
Nope.
Okay, thanks, Victor. Now we're gonna continue our previous discussion, and I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. So I think you both have you both have two names, right? You have a middle name. So tell me which name you prefer to be called by. Tell me where you're living right now, so what part of Bolivia. Tell me, you already told me a little bit of why you're taking this course, but give me more details. So what are you doing right now? So what program are you applying to? What university, maybe, if you want to share that, or what country you're planning on going? And if you need a specific score in the test, if this is part of the requirements, then let me know. Okay, so can we start with you, Sebastian, please?
Okay, my name is Sebastian. I would like that your teacher call me Sebas. There is no problem. Where I live is in La Paz, Bolivia. And the reason that I'm taking TOEFL test is, yeah, the same that I said before, to be accepted in foreign university. And maybe if I'm planning to travel and maybe live in Spain. So if I stay there. My mom and my uncle told me that it would be a good idea that I get a job there, and maybe the TOEFL will help me, right? Um, I now I'm studying. I'm in university in UMSA. This year is my first year because last year I graduated from uh, college, and that's all. I need a specific score in the test, maybe more than 90. That's the score that I would like to get.
Okay, so that's good. So you said Spain, right? And yep, I think this can help you. Even teaching English, as a second language, because in Spain, I think that's a very demanding profession. But of course, there are other options too. And you said that this is your first year in university, so last year you graduated from high school? Yep,
Yes.
good. How old are you?
17.
All right, nice, good. Where would you, Victor?
Well, my name is Victor Hugo Montaño, but just Victor is good. I'm living in Cochabamba. Well, I'm taking this course because I need to practice the structure and how can respond in the TOEFL. That's why I need a specific score more than 94. I already took the test and I has 2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, so my TOEFL score is not more valid, 91. So now I need more than 94. Well, I need that score because I am applying to a university that I already studied before at my bachelor's degree, and exchange student in Oklahoma University. But now I would like to have a master's degree, so that's a requirement to enroll in university.
Okay, good. Thank you. That's great to know. So I'm glad that you already have experience in the TOEFL. I mean, taking the TOEFL test and preparing and stuff. And the score that you did before is actually a pretty good. And so you said that you went to Oklahoma University. You already got your bachelor's degree there. You want a master's now. So I think, that whole experience is gonna definitely help you, and it'll be totally easier for you, and you can definitely, I would say, practice enough, because there have been a few changes in the structure of the test, but most of the format is still the same. So good, Victor. That's really great. Okay, guys. So nice to meet you too. I think that I really hope that this course helps you get there and helps you get the scores that you desire, the scores that you need. And I know how important it is, because usually when you take this test is because you, as you too, right, you're trying to either go abroad, apply to a certain university abroad, and those are huge steps and huge decisions and huge life events. And it totally something that you need to get there. So I know how important it is, and it probably is for you. So I really hope this course helps you. I'm gonna do my best, and I hope that you guys also practice and work on your own as well. Because as I was telling you before, 1 hour a day, 4 hours a week is not really enough if you want to get top scores, right? Depends on where you are and where you want to go, but generally speaking, you need to practice too. You need to do simulation tests, for example, too, and that's something we cannot do during class. We only have 1 hour. So that's what I wanted to say. Is that okay? Do you guys have any questions?
I have one question. I know that the course is during Tuesday to Friday, 1 hour per day. That's right. But when I asked for the course, they said me that we have 2 hours a week in order to have a call with you. Is it correct?
Yeah, yes, that's correct. I'm gonna talk about it in a bit and explain how that works.
Okay.
Yes, but that's true as well. That is for practicing the speaking section. We're gonna practice the speaking section during those 2 hours a week. I don't know if 2 hours a week. It's 2 hours total. It's not 2 hours a week. Yes, because I'm making, adding up. But we're gonna see. Hang on, we're gonna do the math in a little bit. Any other question before we move on?
Teacher, if we take the TOEFL home edition, how is gonna be the speaking?
Okay, it's the same as when you take it in a test center. In a test center or in the home edition test, in the speaking section, since everything is computerized, so you don't really have to do anything, or like you don't need somebody to be there. In the speaking section, they will ask you questions. You have to speak to the computer. So you have to speak to the computer and they will record your responses, and that will be sent to I don't know, to the evaluators, and they will analyze your responses, right? The recordings of your responses. In both of them, the experience is the same. You don't actually interact with somebody for the speaking section. It's just a recording of your responses.
Hmm?
Any other question? Okay. Now the timing and scoring of this test. First thing, this test is divided into 4 sections. You will be evaluated on your 4 skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Each section lasts a different amount of time. I don't want you to worry yet about the details of how many minutes you have per section. We will get there when we get there. Okay, but so far what I want you to know is that in total, this test should last 3 hours, a little bit more perhaps, so 3.5. And if you take it in a test center, then you have to be there like half an hour before. So the whole thing is going to be around 4 hours. So, speaking of that, I think it's important to say that you are usually, especially if you haven't taken the test before, you're usually not used to taking such long tests, right? You usually take tests that are 1 or 2 hours long at most. So it can be stressful. And it's aside from being prepared in terms of the content, you can know everything. You can know how to answer all of those questions. You can be more than ready. But if you have never practiced everything at once, simulating the actual experience of the TOEFL test, that can affect your score. Why? Because mentally you won't be prepared. You can start the reading and listening and have perfect scores there, but maybe when you get to the speaking, you will be too tired. Maybe you won't have a snack because you didn't know that you have a break, right? So taking the 4 sections all at once is another experience that you have to practice before going into the test, so that you are mentally prepared, and you know already how this works. So that's why it's important to do that simulation tests, which is something that you will have to do for this course. You will have to take one in the beginning of the course, so that this week, and one at the end of the course. I don't want you to worry about that now either, because the coordinator of the program, Carlis, will send you the instructions on how to take the simulation tests and everything. Don't worry about that, but you do have to take them, and I recommend that you do. You know, there's a lot of students who don't take the simulation test, who don't take that part seriously, but I do recommend that you take them because that helps you be more prepared, you know, and also measure your progress from start to the end of the course. So that's one thing. And as for the score, the maximum score you can get is 120. Each section is worth exactly the same. So each section is worth 30 points. So reading is 30, listening is 30, speaking 30, and everything else. And that's it. That's an overview. You have, by the way, you have a 15-minute break in between the listening and the speaking. Okay, you are allowed to have a snack, to leave the room, have some fresh air. But when you're doing the simulations, you have to have your 15-minute break too, right? You have to simulate as realistically as you can. Is that okay? Any questions about this?
No.
Okay, guys. So, another thing. No. Okay. Now I'm gonna show you our calendar, which is how we're gonna be organizing for 6 weeks, what we're gonna be doing each week. And it's important that you guys know where we are so that you're not lost, right? What exactly we're doing every week and every class. So let me show you. Okay. So this is our calendar. This is how we're gonna organize our 6 weeks. Tomorrow, we're gonna be starting with the reading section, so we'll go in order. We start our first week with the reading section, our second with the listening. Week number 3 will be for speaking, week 4 for speaking, and on the 5th week, we'll do speaking and writing, and on the 6th week, only writing. Okay? So as you can see, we dedicate a lot of time to the speaking and writing sections. That is because speaking and writing do require more time. Why? You have many questions in the speaking and writing, and each one is different. So you have to know the strategies for each one. You have to have a template for each question. You have to practice each question separately. So it does take more time to go over the speaking and writing sections than it does to see the reading and listening, okay, which are all multiple choice. This is how we're gonna organize. So maybe you can take a screenshot, save it so that you know where we are. Do you guys have any questions about this?
No.
Okay, and finally, this is what Victor was asking about. So we're gonna make the math. But first thing, as I was telling you before, speaking and writing, both of them require a lot of practice. In the reading and in the listening, the good thing is that you guys can practice on your own. Everything is multiple choice. So you either have your answer correct or you have it wrong, right? And when you practice, the software gives you your score. So there's nowhere to get lost in the reading and listening. But in the speaking and in the writing sections, those are sections where you get to produce your own responses. They won't give you options for you to choose. You have to actually speak and they will record your responses, as I was telling you. So that's why you need practice. And not only do you need practice, but you need feedback. So you need to practice and you need somebody else telling you there what you're doing right, what you need to work on, areas to improve, your strengths, the grammar to review, things to consider in terms of the content, the way you're speaking. you need those tips. You know, you need somebody there guiding you and somebody telling you, you know, you should be working on this grammar point. Please review the use of indefinite article. Maybe you're pronouncing this word wrong. Right? So you need those feedback, that guidance. And we're gonna be doing that during these speaking sessions. So what are these? These are 15-minute calls or 15-minute meetings, like the one we're having right now. They are one-on-one. That means that they are individual. It's just gonna be one of you two guys and me, and we will be practicing the speaking section of the test individual. So I will hear your responses and I will give you feedback and I will evaluate your response. These are 12 sessions, so you have 6 weeks to take the 12 sessions. Ideally, you should be taking 2 sessions a week, right? So that means you should be taking 2 sessions a week. That makes 30 minutes a week, half an hour. During the 6 weeks, you will have a total of 3 hours, right? That'll be the total. So I'd really recommend you guys take these sessions. Many students, again, don't take the sessions, but if you want to work on the speaking section, if you want to improve on the speaking section, you need this type of practice, you know? So it's something that I really recommend you do. You have to book these sessions on your own. So I won't tell you when you have to take them. It's up to you. You have to do it through the website, but I don't want you to worry about that now. Carelis, who's the coordinator of the program, will be sending this document. Everything will be explained there, step by step, how you have to book these sessions. And you can start the first week, you know, so you can start this week. But it's important that you finish the 12 sessions during the duration of the course. Okay? Is that okay? Is that clear? Any questions about this now that we've talked about it?
Everything is clear.
Yep. The rest you too?
No, everything's clear.
Great. Oh, I'm guessing that's it for today's class, today's session. Remember, tomorrow we'll be starting. I'm sorry that today we didn't have our session at the usual time. The thing is that, well, because of the holiday, we were having to make up for the classes that we didn't have on Friday. But starting tomorrow, every day, well, Tuesdays through Fridays at 8 p.m. Bolivia time, right? So that's not gonna change. If you really don't have any questions, one more thing, please. Before you go, right now you should be seeing on your screens our survey, and it's a daily survey we'll be doing every single class. It's about how the class was, how prepared it was, how much you understood from it. So I'd really appreciate it if you can give me the feedback, if you can answer that survey for me before you go.
I don't know if I am just me, but sometimes when you speak, teacher, it could be loud and then very, I don't know, it battles the volume of your voice.
So you
I don't know
cannot
if you,
hear me so well sometimes.
yes,
Well, I don't know. Sebastian, what do you think was like, did you happen to hear me in the same way?
Yes, teacher, but only 5, 6 times, I think. Like you were speaking and the volume was low for 2 seconds, and again you were speaking in a normal way.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna check my computer because I was having some microphone problems like a month ago, and I think that the volume had to do with it. So maybe it's that. I'm gonna check it and have it fixed. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, guys. And thank you for joining today's session too. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
The teacher.
Thank you, teacher. Bye bye.